She asked for room for her ex at our engagement party, so I disappeared silently and never looked back. She asked me to make room for her ex at our engagement party. That was the moment I decided I was done. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I simply vanished without a word, and what followed changed both of our lives forever. My name is Daniel. I'm 29, and I work as a software engineer in Seattle. I grew up believing that loyalty and respect were the foundations of any relationship. When I met Claire, a 27-year-old marketing manager, I thought I had finally found someone who shared those values. We met at a networking event, and within weeks, we were inseparable. Claire had this charm. She could light up a room with her laughter, and she made me feel like the luckiest man alive. We traveled, we built routines together, and after 2 years, I proposed. She said yes, tears in her eyes, and I felt like I had secured the future I always dreamed of. Our families were thrilled. Friends were excited. And we started planning an engagement party that was supposed to be the first step into our shared forever. At least, that's what I believed. It started small. Claire would mention her ex, Ryan, in passing. Harmless little comments. Ryan loved this restaurant, or Ryan and I used to go hiking here. At first, I brushed it off. Everyone has a past, right? But then the mentions became more frequent. She'd bring up old stories, inside jokes, even compare my choices to things Ryan used to do. I began to feel like I was competing with a ghost of her past. Still, I convinced myself it didn't mean anything. Came the subtle red flags, secretive texts, her smiling at her phone a little too long, or stepping outside to take a call. My gut told me something was off, but I didn't want to believe it. I told myself we were just stressed from planning the party. Then one evening, while going over the guest list, Claire casually said, "Oh, Daniel, can we add Ryan? He should be there. It would mean a lot to me." I froze. I wanted her ex at our engagement party. That request wasn't just a red flag. It was a bomb dropped in the middle of my reality. I looked at her, searching for some kind of explanation, but she said it so casually, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. "Ryan and I are still friends," she added, almost defensively. "It's not a big deal. If you love me, you'll understand." The betrayal hit me harder than any confession of cheating could. She wasn't just holding on to her past. She was dragging it into our future, expecting me to sit quietly while her ex sat at the celebration of our love. That night, as she slept peacefully beside me, I stared at the ceiling, my heart pounding. I realized something crystal clear. This wasn't about Ryan. It was about respect. And if she couldn't respect me now, she never would. The discovery wasn't catching her in an affair. It was realizing I had been living in one, an affair between her past and her present, and I was just the placeholder. I didn't fight. I didn't beg. I didn't demand she choose me over him. Instead, the next morning, I quietly packed my bags, left the engagement ring on the counter, and walked out the door without a goodbye. No note, no explanation, just silence. At first, she didn't notice. She probably thought I was cooling off somewhere. But as days turned into weeks, the reality sank in. The party was canceled. The families had questions, and Claire was left to explain why her disappeared without a trace. And me, I poured my energy into building something greater, myself. I took a promotion that required me to relocate. I traveled. I reconnected with friends I had neglected, and I started a side business that grew faster than I ever imagined. 6 months later, I saw her name pop up on my phone. Calls, texts, desperate emails, all ignored. Then mutual friends told me she was spiraling. Ryan hadn't come back to her. In fact, he was engaged to someone else, and Claire, she was left alone, haunted by the silence I gave her. My revenge wasn't petty. It was elegant. By walking away, I forced her to face the emptiness she tried to fill with her past. A year later, I barely recognized the man I had become. stronger, more successful, and above all, free. Claire eventually showed up at one of my events, tears in her eyes, saying she finally understood what she had lost. But by then, I had nothing left to give her. Not anger, not love, not even hate. Just indifference. And that's the ultimate revenge. Not caring anymore. Sometimes the most powerful response to betrayal isn't confrontation, it's silence. Walking away without a fight can be the loudest statement you'll ever make. So when someone shows you where you stand in their life, believe them, and never be afraid to disappear for the sake of your self-respect. Subscribe to SilkMirror for more stories where betrayal meets poetic justice.